$10,000. The account just crossed 5 figures for the first time, and it feels incredible. But here's the thing nobody warns you about. This exact moment, right now, is where most people's financial journey quietly dies. Not because of a bad investment, not because of a scam, not because of some dramatic financial mistake that makes a good story, but because of one very human, very understandable, very devastating decision that feels completely reasonable when it happens. This video covers exactly what that mistake is, why almost everyone makes it, and what the smartest move with that $10,000 actually looks like. Stay with it, because this might be the most important financial conversation you have this year. Let's start with the reality check that nobody wants to hear. $10,000 is impressive. Genuinely. A huge portion of the population can't cover a surprise $1,000 bill without reaching for a credit card. Getting to 10 times that took real discipline, real sacrifice. A lot of saying no when every part of the brain was screaming yes. That deserves to be acknowledged. But here's the cold truth that also has to sit alongside that pride. $10,000 is not wealth. It is not financial security. It is barely enough to cover a few months of living expenses if everything went sideways tomorrow. $10,000 is not the destination. It is the foundation. And what gets built on top of it depends entirely on what happens in the next 30 days. So, what's the mistake? What's the one thing that sends people sliding back to zero after working so hard to get here? Meet Ryan. Ryan is 29 years old. He spent 2 years grinding, picking up extra shifts, skipping vacations, cooking at home when everyone else was going out. Last March, he finally hit $10,000. He remembers the exact moment he saw the number on his phone. He took a screenshot, sent it to his brother, felt genuinely proud for the first time in years. Then he left all $10,000 in his checking account. Not because he was careless. He just hadn't figured out what to do with it yet, and it felt responsible to keep it accessible just in case. 6 months later, Ryan had $4,000. Nothing dramatic had happened. No emergency, no crisis. Just dinner out a few extra times because the balance felt comfortable. A new laptop he'd been putting off. A long weekend trip he genuinely felt he'd earned. A few impulse purchases that each made complete sense in the moment. None of it felt irresponsible. Each decision had a perfectly reasonable justification. But slowly, without ever making one big mistake, Ryan undid 2 years of discipline in 6 months. And the worst part? He's not unusual. This is the most common financial story that never gets told. Because there's no villain, no dramatic turning point, nothing to point at. Just the quiet, invisible erosion of money that lives somewhere it was never supposed to live. Here's why this happens, and understanding this changes everything. When all the money lives in the same account, the brain can't separate it into different categories. It all looks the same. It all feels available. And human psychology will almost always find a way to spend money that feels available. This is not a willpower problem. This is not a discipline problem. This is just how human brains work. Wealthy people didn't overcome this instinct through some superhuman self-control. They just made it structurally harder to casually spend their money by putting it in separate places with specific purposes. That's the entire secret. Structure beats willpower every single time. So here's the actual move. And this is the part that changes the outcome. The moment $10,000 lands in the account, split it up immediately and give every single dollar a specific job. First, take somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000 and move it to a separate high-yield savings account. Not the same bank as everyday checking. Ideally somewhere with a little friction, meaning it takes a day or two to transfer funds back. This is the emergency fund, and it exists for genuine emergencies only. Job loss, medical crisis, major car breakdown. Not a sale that's ending soon. Not a trip that feels earned. Actual emergencies. The reason separation matters so much here is psychological. When the checking account shows $2,000 and somewhere else shows $3,000 that's been mentally labeled as off limits, the entire relationship with everyday spending changes. The decisions become more careful automatically. The buffer is gone, so the awareness goes up. Yeah, now here's where a lot of people stumble even when they do create that emergency fund. And this is the part most financial advice skips over. Some people dump the entire $10,000 into savings and feel like they've done the responsible thing. And honestly, that's not the worst outcome. But it's leaving serious money on the table. A savings account, even a high-yield one, is not going to build wealth. It's barely keeping pace with inflation on a good day. Safety without growth is just very slow financial stagnation. This is why, after securing that emergency fund, the remaining money, probably somewhere between $5,000 and $7,000, goes into a Roth IRA invested in broad market index funds. Not individual stock picks, not tips from a group chat, not whatever is trending. Boring, diversified, whole market index funds that have delivered consistent returns over long periods of time. And then it gets left alone. That is the entire strategy at this stage. Here's why the Roth IRA specifically, and this number is worth paying close attention to. Consider two people. Both invest $7,000 at age 30. Both earn the same 8% average annual return. By age 65, both have grown that money to roughly $93,000. The difference is where they invested it. The first person used a Roth IRA. Every dollar of that $93,000 is theirs. No taxes owed on withdrawal. The government gets nothing because those taxes were already paid up front on the original contribution. The second person used a regular taxable brokerage account. At a 15% capital gains tax rate, they owe roughly $12,000 to $14,000 when they take that money out. Same investment, same return. $14,000 less, just because of which account type was chosen at the start. That gap gets even wider when the numbers are larger. On a $500,000 portfolio, the difference between a Roth and a taxable account can be $75,000 to $100,000 in taxes alone. The account type matters as much as the investment itself. There's a full video on the Roth IRA mistake that costs people hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. The link is in the description, and it's worth watching right after this. Now let's talk about the temptation that trips up almost everyone at this milestone, because it's disguised as ambition, which makes it especially dangerous. Take Marcus. He's 31, works in logistics, and just hit $10,000 for the first time. His car is old, his apartment feels cramped. He's been dreaming about starting a side business selling custom furniture he builds on weekends. $10,000 feels like enough to finally make a move. So he uses $6,000 to put a down payment on a newer car. He puts $2,000 toward tools for the woodworking business. He keeps $2,000 as a buffer. He tells himself this is investing in his future. 3 months later, the business hasn't made a single sale. The car payment is $380 a month. He had to pull from the $2,000 buffer when the water heater broke. He's effectively back at zero, except now he has a monthly payment he didn't have before. Marcus went from his best financial position ever to his most financially fragile position ever in a single afternoon. And he did it with completely understandable intentions. People who build real wealth keep stacking. They get to $20,000, then $50,000. Then they make big moves from a position of actual strength rather than desperation. The move is never to do something big with the first $10,000. The move is to let $10,000 become the base that quietly grows into something that actually changes life. Once that initial $10,000 has been split up and given a purpose, the next critical step is automation. This is where most people skip ahead and wonder why nothing seems to compound. Set up automatic transfers from every paycheck. A set amount goes to the emergency fund every pay period until it reaches 6 months of expenses. Another set amount flows directly into the investment account without ever being touched manually. The numbers get decided once based on what the budget allows, and then the system runs on its own. Motivation is temporary. It shows up when things are exciting and vanishes the second life gets difficult or boring. Systems keep running regardless of how things feel. This is the real secret behind people who quietly build substantial wealth over time. They're not more motivated, they just built better systems and got out of their own way. There's also a fear worth addressing directly. The fear of putting money somewhere that feels harder to access. After working so hard for this, the idea of moving it somewhere that takes more than 30 seconds to reach feels genuinely uncomfortable. That's completely understandable. But here's the real picture. The emergency fund covers most realistic emergencies. The investments, while not ideal to touch early, are not truly locked away. If a genuine catastrophe required it, they're accessible. The friction and the structure aren't there to trap anyone. They're there to protect against the very human impulse to spend money that can be seen. The people who hit $10,000 and then hit 20 and then eventually reach financial freedom, are not rare geniuses with secret knowledge. They're just the ones who took the boring correct action instead of the exciting wrong one. They moved their money, set up their system, and focused their energy on earning more, while the accounts quietly did the work in the background. So here's where the decision actually sits. The $10,000 saved is both everything worked toward and just the very beginning of what's possible. The direction from here depends on one choice. Leave it all sitting there waiting to be gradually spent, or give it structure, separation, and a purpose that starts compounding today. One path keeps the cycle going. The other one breaks it permanently. Drop a comment and share which stage this is hitting. Pushing toward $10,000, just crossed it, or already passed it and wishing someone had laid this out sooner. Every comment gets read, and the conversation matters. If this video delivered real value, hit like and subscribe. This is the kind of math and money framework that gets broken down every single week on this channel. Now here's what to watch next. The money is split. The system is set up. So why does it still feel like nothing is happening? That feeling is one of the most common reasons people quit investing too early, and it has a very specific mathematical explanation. The video right there is called Why Compounding Feels Slow Until Your First $100,000. It breaks down exactly why the journey from $10,000 to $100,000 feels painfully slow, why that feeling is completely normal, and the exact moment everything suddenly changes. If the early stages of building wealth feel discouraging right now, that video is the most important one to watch next. Go watch it now.